Welcome in, everybody, to another edition of Major Push Wrestling, where we give wrestling the major push that it deserves. I am joined this week by my no DQ cohort, Oofman. How you doing?
Going on, Mr. Gino, CRod. It's good to be here finally on Gino's channel. Looking forward to a good discussion today, guys.
Yep, we've been trying to get this to happen for the last couple of weeks. I'm glad that I'm back home now and we can go back to normal. And C-Rod has become a regular on the show. How you doing, C-Rod?
Doing well, brother. Good to see you again. Oofman, nice to have you. My one question, where is truth?
Winter's Truth, same place that Karrion Cross is going to be, as I've been saying for the last 5 months. But anyway, so something really, really big happened today, right? Obviously, we had SummerSlam this weekend. The big talking point coming out of SummerSlam was Brock Lesnar's return. Even though we have two new major world champions, the biggest talking point was at the end of the show, similar to when CM Punk returned. So usually that's the big talking point. Now, this is a talking point not because everybody's excited, but because it seems pretty divisive. So the timing of today's news seems a little interesting to me. So I'm going to read this here. So WWE has reached a $1.6 billion 5-year streaming deal with ESPN starting in 2026. ESPN will stream WWE's premium live events, so their pay-per-views, their Saturday shows, Sundays, not including Saturday night's main event, but you're talking Royal Rumble, Elimination Chamber, WrestleMania will probably be the first three there. The deal moves WWE's premium events off of Peacock and onto ESPN's new streaming service. The deal is part of ESPN's expansion into direct-to-consumer streaming and aims to reach a younger, more diverse audience. Okay, so I could read more into that, but we kind of have the gist. So a few things that stick out to me are we've had the WWE Network and then we had Peacock, both of which were less than $10 to have, and we had access to not only the current premium live events or pay-per-views, whatever you were calling them. We also had the entirety of the library, right? Peacock, I can go back and I can go watch all this stuff. They have the WWE 24s, they got all this stuff, and then they got to deal with Netflix. So all the stuff internationally is on Netflix, including Raw. So like it's already kind of been segmented out, but for United States users, Peacock is not going to be what you're going to be using to watch that. Now, there's been some talk about, oh, if you're a previous Disney Plus user or blah, 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 you might not have to pay the $30 a month that they're going to be charging for this service. As much as I hate when people say wrestling is fake, it's not the same sports that people who watch ESPN are watching. Maybe ESPN 8 the Ocho fans are into this, but to me, it feels like WWE fans, like if you're just a WWE fan, some of them, well, most of them, I don't even think give a crap about like competitive sports. So, like, I don't understand how ESPN is going to benefit. They really think that the WWE crowd is going to come over there and then watch their other content? Probably not, right? Now we've got. I'm a sports fan, but I don't even really care about ESPN. They don't have the rights to a lot of the stuff. I mean, obviously they're trying to get it back and be that one-stop shop, but live sports is traditionally on live TV. So now we're going to have this ESPN plus thing, $30. That's double what the last two providers have been charging us to watch these events. I'm sure from a bottom dollar perspective, WWE doesn't give a crap about ESPN's content and cross viewing and anything like that. They just want the money. And I never underestimate the money hungriness of a corporation. So I really can't fault WWE for that. Obviously, it goes above their head with TKO. TKO has been pricing UFC fans out of their pay-per-views for the last couple of years. It used to be you could watch a UFC pay-per-view $40, and now it's like $100. So it kind of makes me feel that that's what's going to go on and happen with this stuff. But maybe we're going to get better quality pay-per-views, more matches on these events, right? Everybody compares AEW to WWE, and AEW does 70 matches and they're 7 hours long, but you're paying to watch it pay-per-view. So you got to give the people paying you money to watch it a reason to buy. So maybe this can turn into things, even though SummerSlam I thought was great. I think that the events have been good, but you're definitely not going to get a Gunther versus Pat McAfee main event. That's for sure. So I really want to see what you guys think. I'm sure there's more pros. Hopefully, you guys have a few more pros that we can be bringing up here. It seems from the article that they are hyped about getting this in front of more children and stuff. I don't know any child that buys ESPN or gives a crap about any of that stuff, so I don't understand a lot of this decision other than the power of the dollar. So I think going back to my original point of the timing of this, with people being divisive on Brock Lesnar, whether you like him, whether you think he should be back, whether you don't, it doesn't matter. But it seems like everybody's disappointed in this news. So you've unified WWE fans, maybe not in the best way possible, but unity is something we're sorely lacking in America right now. So I'm going to take this as a sign of hope that maybe something good can come out of this. So I'm going to throw it over to you, CRod, now. What do you think about this WWE deal? Obviously, we were all three of us were messaging each other back and forth in various different ways to talk about our thoughts about this, but here's your chance to show the world what you think about this, good, bad, or indifferent. Take it away.
It is a subscription nightmare, but that is the world I think that we live in now, right? Like you have to have 6 or 7 different subscriptions to watch anything. And then even if something is on one subscription, maybe they're only there for 3 months and then they switch to another one that you may or may not have. It's very frustrating. I bought Netflix to watch Raw, and you said something where maybe this gets better quality, right? But the big thing that they touted when they got onto Netflix was it was going to be longer. It was going to be, potentially more mature. And we have seen none of that. We've seen them start to black the screen out. We've seen them start to mute people if we hear them cuss. I don't think that Netflix has ever gone 1 minute over their timing since they went on. We've never had a 3 hour Raw on Netflix. It's always that 2 hour, 2.5, 2:35 mark. So, do I see this getting better? I would love to be positive in this retrospect, but I don't. I mean, you also forgot that SmackDown is still on cable television. Like we can't even stream SmackDown. So missing out on so many things on Cena. Cena's a Friday night guy. Cody Rhodes is a Friday night guy. I don't always have time to sit down and watch SmackDown live. I would love to, but I also don't have cable television. I cut the cord 10 years ago, right? So I mean, we don't want to say the P word on YouTube, but that's what we kind of
Arg.
resort to, and it's getting absolutely ridiculous. There was also the news of now they're going to 5 2-night PLEs, and we talked about this. I think the product becomes diluted when you have the 2 nights of events. Back in the day, we used to talk about how awesome WrestleMania 17 was because there were all these stacked matches and the stacked card. But in my personal opinion, when you separate it into 2 nights, you start throwing in the matches against Jelly Roll. You start throwing in a triple threat that we already saw at WrestleMania change with one girl, and we start to see fillers in premium live events just to extend them over 2 nights. And it's strictly a TKO, profit first, money grab. They don't care about wrestling legacy. They're already cutting down live events and live shows that was supposed to booster the roster and save money, but then they turn around and now they're making all of these cuts. And on top of that, ticket prices are up year over year 60-70%.
I'd say event over event. Like from the
Event
last
over event.
event to
There
this
you
event,
go.
it's like
Yeah.
Oofman didn't go to SummerSlam because of the price. I mean, and Cardi B, but it priced a very
Yeah.
clear fan of the product out of wanting to go live. Like, look at his background. You can't tell
Yeah.
me Oofman is not a true fan, and now he's the one that they're not able to go and in favor of the Dudleys and the Hardys sitting front row and stuff like that. And Oofman, we're going to get to you in a second. I'm going to let CRod finish. But real quick, CRod, the terminology for switching back and forth between streaming services like buying it for a show and then getting rid of it and going to another. They call that in the industry churn. So they are trying to eliminate churn from their customers, but
Well, you brought up a
it's
good
gonna hurt.
point. What happens with Saturday Night Main Event? That's an NBC product. Is that going to still be on Peacock? Do we have to have Peacock for Saturday Night Main Event? Or are they getting rid of that completely? Or is it just going to be on NBC cable cast? And now, again, it comes up with the SmackDown. But, I'll let Oofman go. I think it's infuriating to see what TKO has done to this company from just a money standpoint. And, I'd like to see better. So.
Absolutely. So that's the thing, right? Right before we go to Oofman, that's the thing. So you don't have live TV, you can't really watch SmackDown. I mean, Hulu is under the Disney umbrella, which also ESPN is, and that's who the deal is specifically with ESPN. Like it keeps mentioning ESPN, but obviously it's with Disney because Disney's the parent company and they bought out like all the rights to own ESPN. Now they have Hulu, which does show SmackDown, which will show Saturday Night's Main Event after it's already aired, unless you have Hulu Live TV. But then you're basically going right back into a cable model. So, Uthman, you've been patient. We really appreciate you joining us and hope that you're come back for many more. But what are your thoughts on all of this? The new deal, obviously they're making a lot of money, but how does it impact us as the consumer of the product?
Yeah, one of the things I've been trying to catch up on the reading of everything is it just seems like we're not getting straightforward answers because people are like, well, what if I already have ESPN Plus, or what if I have Hulu? What if I already have their packages? How does that affect me? And what's driving me up the wall is that we're not getting an answer from either WWE, TKO, or ESPN. We're getting third parties getting it. So now the latest I read is if you have ESPN on your cable provider, then you're going to get the PLEs for free. It's like, oh, okay, cool. I'm guessing it's like, so best way I can compare it is the MLB network, no, MLB app on your phone, you can stream your baseball game. So as a Mets fan, say if I was like you, Gino, living in Florida, I could watch the Mets on MLB app. But living here in Jersey, I can watch MLB. I can watch the Mets on the MLB app for free by inputting my provider information. So I'm guessing that's how you can see the PLEs for free. So yay on that part. But what I'm saying is we're reading other people from Twitter and X. They're explaining it, and I think it should come from TKO or WWE. I think Triple H was on ESPN a couple hours ago. I saw a still shot. He was explaining it. He didn't explain that. He just explained basically what CRod said. Everything that CRod nailed is what Triple H said. It's like, all right, cool, $30 a month. He explained everything, all like I guess the company line, but he didn't get into specifics. Like, well, what if I already have this bundle? Now it's all coming out later. I just feel that the communication from somebody, a parent company, be it ESPN or TKO, explain it better. And one thing about TKO that I'm not really liking, and I think it began since they bought WWE, is I've noticed, or I'm sure you guys noticed that seems like WWE takes second seat to UFC fights where the pay-per-views are ending like an hour or a half hour early before. So according to TKO, fans can go from watching WWE to UFC. I didn't even realize it, but apparently last Saturday after SummerSlam Night 1, there was the UFC show, which again, I didn't know. And then it made sense. The show ended at, I think, 9:10 or something like that. Not even 9:15. I think the Rollins cash-in went into like 9:15 or something like that. But the main event ended like right at 9. And I'm sitting going like 2 hours. It started at 6. So, all right, they just hit the 3-hour mark. But like you said, Gino, yeah, I chose not to go to SummerSlam. The MetLife Stadium is literally 15 minutes from my house. The second I saw those prices on the sale day, I said, no, thank you. I went to WrestleMania 35 6 years ago. 2 tickets, $100, section 325. This year, 1 ticket in section 325, $450. No, thank you. So like you're saying, yeah, it's getting ridiculous. Now WrestleMania is going back to Las Vegas. I don't think the same prices from this year are going to be like you just like CRod and you said it, Gino, from one show to another, year to year. I think those prices are going to increase even more. So it's going to come to a point where it's
and
like,
CRod did go to WrestleMania in Vegas this past year.
All right. Will you go next year, CRod?
No,
Yeah.
because I spent $1,000 to sit in the 100 level. $1,000. Yeah. And like you said, they're going back there, and they're going to bump those prices up more because the only reason they're going back is to raise up that gate and raise up that draw.
Yep, and
Yeah.
unfortunately, that's what it's all about. And yeah, we're gonna take the hit, us consumers and all that. But there are the ways we can find our way around it. But it's going to come to a point. Yeah, even I'm deciding my contract with my cable providers up in December. I'm thinking of cutting loose, and there are other ways to watch. So, but I'm not liking it. I'm not complaining. I'm just not liking the new format. But again, we'll get our wrestling somehow. We'll do it. But and the other flip side, I hope AEW takes advantage of this and they strike a deal with HBO Max somehow, where either there was that whole rumor of maybe they'll put the pay-per-views on HBO Max at a lower price, or I just say just put your pay-per-views on Max and then go from there. But again, hopefully they come up with the decision. Full Gear is coming back to New Jersey. I plan on going. Their ticket prices look fairly the same. I went this past, actually, yeah, 2 years in a row. They're coming back to New Jersey. So far, so good in the ticket prices. Where again, I think somebody mentioned it in the panel a couple weeks ago or something, that I think this is where AEW can take advantage of this, where they should keep their prices fair. Again, I had section one seats with my three friends, and we paid $50, same price for a pay per view at home, and I had a awesome kick ass view. The ring, we were 2 rows from the risers. The ring was like, I don't know, maybe 2 sections in front of us. We had great seats, and my friends were like, "What did we pay for this?" I'm like, $50, and we're like, "That's what you pay for at home," and we had a killer view. So I hope all this is an advantage towards I'm an AEW guy myself, even though this says WWE, but I'm really an AEW guy too. And I hope Tony Khan is paying attention, and hopefully, again, him and HBO Max can do something going where they can jump into the streaming service with that app, and they take advantage of it. Again, don't price gauge. If hopefully TK is noticing, like, all right, TKO is going insane with these prices, these new deals. All right, let them be them, and we'll do us. But I just hope this is an advantage towards AEW to hopefully not overcharge for that, because it's starting to get a little out of hand.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, as a stockholder for WBD, they're splitting. I know that they're splitting the company into two separate companies, and how that's going to affect the stocks and what have you. But if they can get their events on Max, like WWE's been doing on Peacock the last couple of years, like I would start watching AEW pay-per-views again. Like I don't, it's a lot of effort to go through redacted.net to watch wrestling, and you get the lags and the buffering and what have you and all that stuff. Like so to me, for at least an AEW event, it's not worth that. And honestly, for WWE events, like if it wasn't on Peacock, I used to be on the high seas, right? And I didn't even really want to watch it until the event was over, because it's an easier watch when it's not live. So all these things come into play. I think AEW can slide into that. You're paying a 1 monthly premium for the service, and then you get what the service offers you, even when it offers big events, right? Like Netflix you didn't have to buy the Paul Tyson fight. Like I think if you had Netflix, you got to watch it, right? So, and Netflix doesn't even charge $30 a month. So it's very strange. And right now we don't know too much. Like you said, Triple H isn't announcing a lot. I don't think they know what's going on with that. They make this deal. It's not like they're talking about it in the deal rooms. Like, well, how's this going to affect somebody who already has the service or whatever? They're trying to get people switched over to the service. They don't give a flying F about people who currently have the service, which they kind of should, because people are just going to churn or share accounts and whatever. But like, if you have, because most people have cut the cord. I mean, at least our generation is like cord cutting. The only reason I have cable right now, and I never use it, is because it comes for free at my apartment complex when I get internet. So, duh, right? And that's now coming with Disney Plus and stuff. So I got to look into that to see how I can try and not pay any more money. But like, to be frank, I do have Disney Plus, right? I've got HBO Max, I've got Peacock, and we've got Netflix. Like these things are starting to add up, and it's starting to become the same cost as cable. Thank goodness my buddy lets me have his YouTube TV login, so I can watch SmackDown, record it, fast forward through the commercials. SmackDown's the most fun watch for me, because if there's any delay in when I'm watching it, I can fast forward right to the commercials. Netflix, you can't do that. There is a glitch though. If you watch the show like anytime after 8 o'clock on Monday, it will skip the commercials for you to get you caught up to live faster. But as soon as that event ends, or as soon as you're caught up to the live, then you have to deal with the 4 or 5 minutes of commercials. So we're really only getting 2 hours worth of content on Monday Night Raw instead of the 3 that we were expecting. I don't know if anybody said it was going to be more violent, more sexy, whatever, with more cuss words. We were just kind of assuming that because you don't have to worry about the same guidelines and stuff. But obviously, according to WWE Unreal and what we've seen in real life, they still feel like they're pigeonholed to certain restrictions. We're gonna obviously find out more as it gets closer, right? Like I remember there were a lot of the same concerns going into the Netflix era, rightfully so. Like, oh, well, am I going to still have this on this? Well, what region? So they did get it worked out, but I don't think that they even thought about that when they were striking the deal. They wanted to make the deal, and then they'll just figure everything out in the next August, September, October, November, just the next 4 to 5 months, right? I'm hoping that it won't be as aggressively complicated as it seemed. Like the internet and my group chats with my friends and my group chats with the No DQ guys, like it's been blowing up over this, right? And like nobody's really happy about it. Like, I mean, we will be happy if we find out we don't have to pay any extra money or whatever. Because like at the time it was like $30 a month for ESPN Plus is what ESPN Plus costs, or whatever they're calling it. And then how does that affect the premium live events? We're going to pay extra on top? No, yes, whatever, whatever. We'll have to see. And now they're going to split these events up into two nights and stuff like that, which, they had a record-breaking summer. Well, no joy. You had an extra whole day of stuff. I hope your ticket sales are higher than one-night events last year. I hope your ticket sales are, and your attendance and all that stuff. But SummerSlam didn't really need to be 2 nights, and I think the show ultimately suffered for it. I was always a proponent of Royal Rumble, Elimination Chamber, Money in the Bank, obviously WrestleMania, but that's already is. Like those events all for 2 nights, but I think WWE's scared to put the women's whatever gimmick match on its own night. But now it doesn't look like that anymore. It looks like they are going to split that up, and obviously you're going to have the Royal Rumble women's one night and the Royal Rumble men's the other night, and I think that's better for the product just because you want to end your show with whoever wins that big match. If you're opening the show with a Royal Rumble, it's like the person who wins that opening match isn't really touted as much.
But do you think so? You brought up a point. They made SummerSlam 2 nights, right? They still sold out, and as much as people are pissed off about this and mad about it, do you honestly think that anything is going to change? Because people are still going to attend. WrestleMania was still sold out, even though people were griping about the prices. And it's just going to appease the people that have more monetary, access than us. Like, do you really think that anything will change, even though people are pissed off, aside from just kicking out kind of the lower the class?
So that's the thing. They used to say, like, I think up until like a year ago, it was like, we make sure that if you're a WWE fan and we come to your city, you can afford to go to the show. Maybe it's really cheap upper level seats and whatever, but it used to be that they still had seats for sale for other people. If you only get the richest of the rich in there, I promise you the crowd energy is not going to be as high, and their engagement with what the product, what's going on in front of them isn't going to be as high. You can go to these countries and all these other events that these people are, you could tell they're gracious to have WWE there. This Silicon Valley guy driving out to whatever because his kids want to see WrestleMania is going to be on his phone the whole time in the front row, no less. All this stuff, and I think that hurts the product. Like if you go back, I mean, I know it's a different age now with cell phones and stuff, but like if you go back to the early 2000s and stuff, like people are watching what's going on and they're engaged. They're not sitting on their hands, none of that. But then you get that with people who are just, oh, I'm here to take the kids out, but I'm going to be on my phone or I'm going to not, whatever it is. But if WWE is continuing to make money, and I've said this for years, I've been online talking about stuff like this for years. We vote and we speak with our dollar, right? So if they're still selling out, they're going to have no reason to change anything unless they go to a place, a bunch of rich people going, and the crowd is silent. They might not go back there, but TKO is going to be like, no, you're going to go back there because we sold out. And then and it's coming down to The Rock is having to be last minute inserted into something at Elimination Chamber to get tickets to be sold. They have to do all this extra stuff for SummerSlam. Like the SummerSlam tickets weren't selling until they were, but they were selling once we realized what we were going to get. Obviously WrestleMania is going to sell out. People want to go to WrestleMania even before. It's like the Super Bowl. You're buying your ticket 2 years in advance, a year in advance. You don't even know who's going to be there, but you're going to go to this major event. Like the event sells it. To me, I don't think SummerSlam is that like strong of an event. I know the WWE world thinks of it like that, but like, I don't know. I just feel like it's just another premium live event to me, and that they just look stronger.
Yeah, it's not like back in the day where it was just like they call it the Big Four. It's like, okay, Rumble, Mania, SummerSlam, Survivor Series. Then that's where, it was the excitement. It was the second one. And one thing about, just to add to the tickets, a couple weeks ago, I went to WWE night at Citi Field, and they always give out tickets to a concert or someone's coming around in the city or Jersey at Prudential Center or whatever. But someone did a contest. I forgot what it was. It was just like name this player, and you had to name him. They gave them 4 free tickets to SummerSlam. Me and my friends were like, "Whoa, 4!" I understand 2. Like, here, you and your friend can go to Summer. They gave them 4 free tickets. I went, and then I immediately went to check, like, how are ticket sales doing? And not so good. Again, maybe because it was WrestleMania, but WrestleMania had 85,000, I believe, at MetLife, and this weekend it was like 50K and 60K. It's like,
Yeah.
sell out. Okay.
Yeah.
But again, I get it. SummerSlam versus WrestleMania, like you said, I get it.
And that's the thing. Like at the end of the day, we all want good wrestling, good product, and we would like to be able to afford to go to the show when it comes to a city near us.
I'm
I don't
still
think that's
paying off
asking too much.
WrestleMania. I'm still paying. It cost me almost $10,000 for that whole 4 days that I was there, between airfare, hotel, the tickets, because I went with my girlfriend, everything included, all the merchandise I bought. Still paying it off.
And now they're going to ask you to pay 3 times as much as we are paying monthly to watch the WWE experience. And the thing is again, ESPN doesn't offer anything to our girlfriends or our wives. No offense to any of the ladies out there that watch sports and whatever, like bless your hearts, but like if you give me a list of women, single women who buy ESPN streaming service.
Right.
Maybe it's just Annie Agar from Instagram and that's it. Like you don't. So at least with Peacock, you had the reality shows, your Love Islands, your Traders, your everything's like that. My girl can watch, I can watch. They got the Jurassic Park movies on there. Like Peacock's a pretty good service.
Agreed.
But I mean,
but I'm chucking it come December if this is the deal. It's like I don't need to watch it.
Yeah.
And now Peacock lost somebody, but that's what happens when you lose the bidding rights. So I get that, but like there were to charge $30 for something that doesn't offer you the same cross contamination for your family and whatever you've got going on. Like again, like most of us, if we live in the area with our home team, we can see that on TV, right? So I mean, obviously you got to have cable, and there's all these stipulations and stuff. It's confusing. Hopefully it gets cleared up for sure. But at the end of the day, it doesn't feel like this is going to, on the surface, it doesn't feel like this helps us as fans of the product. Again, I've talked about, well, if they give us 7, 8 match single night premium live events, okay, maybe we're starting to approach that. Okay, it's worth the price of admission, right? But I'm not going to get ESPN Plus, like pay to have that service just to watch one night a month of WWE. Like, that doesn't make sense. Now, if I get Disney Plus and it comes with ESPN and all that stuff, at least there's something for my girlfriend to watch, the Lilo and Stitches and all that stuff on there. And obviously the Marvel and the Star Wars and everything that I like to watch too. But I like wrestling. I don't like it to pay $30 for one night. Now, we'll give you 2 nights. Okay, cool. Now my whole weekend is taken up with potentially subpar evening stuff. And you mentioned it, Oofman, like they're trying to get the WWE audience to start liking UFC. And that is mind-boggling to me. People come to WWE for the storytelling, for the level of eccentricity, the level of electricity, and the cinematic scripted nature of it. That's you. UFC could not be more opposite from that. So if somebody's not a UFC fan, like I get you want to do a lead in, right? Like a lot of these shows, like after SmackDown or after Raw, they put their new TV shows on that program. So people that leave their televisions on after the show's over, they get that view credit. Nobody's finishing a WWE pay-per-view and not going to YouTube to watch the post show or going to YouTube to watch Aaron Riff discuss the post show or any of that. They're certainly not staying on UFC. I have a lot of friends that like UFC, a lot. Not a single one of them will even sit down with me to watch wrestling. So it just feels like, I don't know. And there's been a lot of that going on with streaming services and stuff lately, especially Netflix and Happy Gilmore too. Do not get me started. That's a video for another day.
I actually liked Happy Gilmore too.
I did too. It should have gone to theaters and then got to Netflix. 3.8 billion people watched it. I guarantee you more than that would have watched it had it gone to theaters first, and they would have made a couple $100 million. Whatever.
I'll challenge you on that. Like you said, maybe another video for another day. I'm glad it was on Netflix. I don't think I would have paid whatever price of a ticket is now, $15 or whatever for it. I enjoyed it, and I was happy it was on Netflix. I'm glad I didn't go to the theater, but I still enjoyed it, for the record.
Sure, and I had a good time too, as stupid as the movie was. But I have AMC A-List, so I don't pay any extra money to go to the theater, right? I pay $25 a month. I can go to 4 movies a week. This isn't a plug for AMC A-List, but if you live near an AMC, that's it right there. And I have no problem going to the movies alone. But like, I watched the movie alone.
I have the StubHub Club, and it's like free combinations of snacks and stuff. But it is worth it. But like I said, Happy Gilmore 2, great movie. Glad it was on Netflix.
Yet another subscription. But there you go. More subscriptions.
Yes, but I'm getting my money's worth. I went to Naked Gun and Fantastic Four for the second time in the same day, Superman. And you know what I mean? So like you have these different things. But at the end of the day, like all these companies are counting their beans and trying to make it the most money possible and make these decisions based on what they think. I'm just hoping that this doesn't negatively affect us. Like, I don't want to have to I'm not going to buy the pay-per-view this month because I don't think it's going to be worth it. Like, that's freaking late 90s, early 2000s level think. Like, I'm begging my mom for WrestleMania 18, Hogan Rock. Like, I haven't had to think about, do I want to spend money for this premium level? Is the card good enough? No, it's just a wrestling event. I'm excited that we're having wrestling, and I watch it. So it just feels like our whole almost viewing experience might have to come to something different. Right? Oh, I got to wait till 9 o'clock to stream it on the high seas and all this stuff. And like, it is concerning. And I think the people out there have their fears come from a good place, right? It's not like we're being greedy or selfish. We have had something for the better part of a decade at a certain price point, with or without commercials. I'm not even talking about having commercials, skipping the packages that lead into the matches where we talked about last week, the package for WrestleMania 17, the My Way Rock Austin thing. Like, we don't even get to see those if we have commercials now. I'm totally fine with that. But like, there are these different things and aspects, and I really hope they get it all worked out. And I'm sure they will. But right now, face value, it seems like there's more harm than good being done. So we're almost out of time here. I want to throw it around. If you have any last thoughts, great. If not, let the people know where they can find you. Oofman, any last thoughts? And if not, where can the people find you?
No, just that hopefully it'll get straightened out. Hopefully they'll explain it better. And then again, the timing of the promotion, all that. I just hope it gets explained better. But everybody can find me here on YouTube. Just search Oofman Entertainment. I got my series, Gabbing with Oof. And again, gentlemen, thank you so much for having me here. Look forward to another topic. Maybe Happy Gilmore too. I don't know.
Heck yeah. And Oofman's links to his socials and his YouTube will be in the description of this video. So don't forget to go check him out. Give him a like, give him a subscribe. He's great. He's got a series, Gabbing with Oof, that I really enjoy listening to. So check that out. And you can see him on the No DQ predictions, mostly the Thursdays before the premium live events. And CRod, people, you have a new place where people can find you as of the last couple of weeks.
Yep, new place. You can find me on Instagram at CrodsPod, as well as on Spotify, running a new podcast geared towards mental health. And then the last thing that I want to say is I just hope that TKO doesn't keep looking at WWE as its ATM machine. And welcome back, Beast Incarnate.
Heck yeah. All right, guys, from CRod, from Oofman, and me here at Major Push Wrestling, thank you so much for watching. And as always, we'll catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.